Welcome back to another episode of I Literally McCan't. I'm Maggie here.
And I'm Emma, obviously. We figured that this week, since Spotify just told us our very own Wrap It Ups, if we figured, or what is it called, Wrapped Up? We figured this week we'd talk about knowing when to wrap it up, which is something we will struggle with, but it's progress over perfection. We're working on it. We don't have to be perfect.
The comeback is greater than the setback, for sure.
Okay, so that's like my second best saying, progress over perfection, right? Knowing when to wrap it up is a work in progress.
So our parents like to say, like, if you're not having fun past, like, midnight, then wrap it up, go home, and you have to just try again, like, the next time, for sure.
Like, if before midnight, last weekend my dad was like, well, if you're not having fun, like, before midnight, just come home. And I was like, well, what if you're having a lot of fun? And he was like, well, that is something we're going to have to talk about. So then we were like, this is a perfect time to really figure out, this week's podcast. We were like, let's talk about this. So knowing when to wrap it up. Quick story, just like this is how much we struggle. It's my 24th birthday. Yes, 24th. Still don't know when to wrap it up. So if you don't know when to wrap it up still at 24, don't worry. I'll probably be 26 and struggling. This is my 24th birthday. I had a pregame, so much fun. I was walking around with, I think I covered about like 4 bottles of Prosecco all day at my parents' house. Not even like we were alone, just at my parents' house, full on, 9 hours at the bar, already hammered before I got to the bar. So when I got there, things didn't get much better, obviously. Moral of the story is my parents asked me where I was, and this is after like 10 hours, right? And I apparently told them that I was alone in the middle of the street, and so they came to get me. And obviously I put up a fight because it's my birthday. I don't want to go home. I'm having so much fun. But my parents come to rescue me. My dad calls himself the Alcohol Coast Guard. I was in a lot of trouble because apparently I told him I was alone, which I wasn't. So super mysterious, number one. Anyway, when I got home, I tried to go back out, and my dad did yell at me, and he said that I need to learn when to wrap it up because of, I guess, the state I was in. Did I wrap it up? No. I, against their will, called 1 Uber, canceled it, 2 Ubers, canceled it, 3rd Uber, got in, headed back out. So I feel like today is a good time to talk about knowing when to wrap it up. That night was a long one, and I should have wrapped it up when I came home the first time.
And I think what's important to remember throughout that whole story is that, like, it was her 24th birthday. So it's almost like when to wrap it up. I almost wanted to grow up, but also at the same time, like, this is what keeps you young, and this is what brings you happiness, then you know what? You have to just do it.
And in my defense, I was having fun all the way up until midnight, so I didn't have to come home according to Dad's rule. But,
my big thing for that night was that I was getting yelled at for not being with my sister. Meanwhile, I was with her best friend 2 towns over having the best time of my life. So why would I end my night to help someone? Because, like, if I'm not having fun by midnight, then I need to make sure I'm having fun by midnight so I can stay out longer. Almost. That's my view on this. Like, I need to make sure. Yeah, my take on the saying. I just think I need to stay out and have so much fun to make it till 12, and then I can say, like, this is worth it. I'm staying out till 2 or 3, and then I'll walk home at 2 or 3.
Right, and like I feel like here, like our rule of thumb / like advice for our many fans is if you can come home and pass out on the couch in like a matter of like a minute to 5 minutes, it's time to wrap it up and stay home. Like if you lay on that, put your head on that pillow when you pass out, it's time. That's the rule of thumb. If you could pass out on the couch, it's time. Which I could have, but special occasion. I just was feeling super driven, and I did go back out. But I also think like the good thing here is that like when you do wrap it up, you almost never regret wrapping it up.
Yeah. That's true, because then you're like, oh, shoot, like, thank God I wrapped it up, because that means I was, like, pretty drunk, and I could have done, like, more embarrassing things. But also, I don't know, I live for those embarrassing moments. Those are the best.
Right. And, like, spared yourself the anxiety the next morning. But, like, also, if you don't wrap it up and you go and mess up and whatever, the first thing I did that next morning was I woke up and texted my dad, and I was like, I'm sorry. And just, like, admitting that I was wrong and that, like, I shouldn't have done what I did. I feel like made me feel better. And then like obviously my dad was like, don't worry about it, like we've all been there, blah blah blah. You're 24, like you're gonna have to figure it out on your own. Like if I was 18, probably a different story, but like now that I'm 24, like whatever, like we joked about it. But I feel like the most important thing is always like apologizing in the morning, because you never want like people to not think that like you have remorse or like self-awareness. I just feel like self-awareness is so important.
And I think that helps with the anxiety part too. Like I feel like that helps you clear the air, and then you can like actually get up from your bed that day. Like if you don't figure it out right away in the morning, then like your anxiety will just linger all day.
Right. And then like kind of like showing, like proving yourself the next time you drink that like you can learn from your mistakes, and that like I'm not like an immature psycho, which like I am, but like I could be that way one night out of the year, but being that way every night is just like someone that like nobody wants to drink with. So like I know that like I'm self-aware enough to like remember like how I was behaving and how I felt, and like that maybe like I shouldn't do that every year, but like I got a pass because it was my birthday.
So then this brings me to this past Thanksgiving, when I think that normally I'm not like the most well-behaved, but I think that I was the most well-behaved on the Saturday night after Thanksgiving when we all went out together. And I had to follow you in an Uber behind you as your Uber was going off when you were throwing up out the door. And my Uber had no clue where to go, and I just said, keep following that car in front of you. So then we get home, we take care of you really quick, and then Mom and Dad are like, no, you're not going back out. Like, it's...
So, like, this is the thing. Like, he hit the beanbag upstairs, and I was out like a light. There was no waking me up. But you two, Maggie and my best friend, decided, you know what, it's not time to wrap it up, right?
Yeah. So that shows, like, the sign, like, where Emma said if you are home and you fall asleep within the first few minutes of sitting on the couch, like, you're done. You're done. And that was her. She was done, which is good. And it's good that she realized it. I don't know if she realized it in the moment, but it's better for her the next morning. But for me and Joelle, we were able to call an Uber. We did have to sneak out of our parents' house. We took our shoes off and ran out the front door, put our shoes on before going into the Uber. And he was like, where are you guys coming from? And we were like, we had to sneak out. And he was like, how old are you guys? And we were like, 21 and 24. So, like, that definitely hit hard.
I also think, like, you bring up a really good point. Like, knowing when to wrap it up, all of those, like, reading the room. Like, we're at my parents' house. Like, do we need to go back out? Probably not. Like, would they care? No. But, like, that's also, like, a factor. Like, reading the room. Like, if I was at Joelle's New York City apartment, like, I would not even think twice about it. But, like, being home makes me think twice about it. Because, like, obviously, like, there's, like, a level of respect we have. But, like, that also plays a huge factor in knowing when to wrap it up, I feel like.
Definitely, yeah. Do I go against that often? Yes, because I think that you're the better, more respected sister. But that's okay. That's what makes us different, and that's what adds like the spice into our family that our family needs. And I think me going off often definitely helps keep Mom and Dad on their toes, because I think they had it almost too easy with you and Matt.
That's like a totally different situation. Like before this year, we didn't live in the town we live in, and like the town we live in now is like way more like a young crowd and like a lot more bars, and like we like can walk places, so it's totally different. But I totally agree. Plus, like now, like I'm 24, Matt's 23, and you're 21, so it's like we're all together. So it's just like, I don't know, I just feel like it's fueled on an already flaming fire. Which also brings me to like, honestly, like as long as we learn from our mistakes, it's all good.
That's true. That's true. I feel like what you said before, like owning up to it, like, I don't know, sometimes.
I always own up to it. That's my first thing the next morning.
Yeah, like sometimes you just.
The dad that next morning was literally like, I'm owning it. Can't even deny it. Sorry, won't happen again. And he was like, okay, good. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and that's honestly like the best way to deal with anxiety, and the best way to deal with like something bad that's happened the night before. Because I remember like sometimes I could literally end friendships with the things that I do. But luckily my friends know that most of the time it's out of character for me.
Right.
Yeah, so that's good for me.
All right. Well, I feel like knowing when to wrap it up is like a conversation we could definitely talk about again someday, but I'm really glad we touched on it today, because like I feel like sometimes people feel super guilty, and we're here to tell you, don't feel super guilty. As long as you own up to it, learn from your mistakes, and kind of like be responsible in knowing and reading the room when to wrap it up, you're good.
And remember, if you're ever feeling bad about yourself, we've probably done worse.
Exactly.
Thank you.
All right, we'll chat later.
Bye.